وَلَأَجْرُ الْآخِرَةِ خَيْرٌ لِّلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَكَانُوا يَتَّقُونَ.
And the king said, "Bring him to me, that I may attach him to my person." And when he had talked with him, he said, "Lo, you are today in our presence established and trusted." He said, "Set me over the storehouses of the land. Lo, I am a skilled custodian." Thus gave we power to Joseph in the land. He was the owner of it where he pleased. We reached with our mercy whom we will. We lose not the reward of the good. And the reward of the hereafter is better for those who believe and fear God.
وَجَاءَ إِخْوَةُ يُوسُفَ فَدَخَلُوا عَلَيْهِ فَعَرَفَهُمْ وَهُمْ لَهُ مُنكِرُونَ. وَلَمَّا جَهَّزَهُم بِجَهَازِهِمْ قَالَ ائْتُونِي بِأَخٍ لَّكُم مِّنْ أَبِيكُمْ أَلَا تَرَوْنَ أَنِّي أُوفِي الْكَيْلَ وَأَنَا خَيْرُ الْمُنزِلِينَ فَإِن لَّمْ تَأْتُونِي بِهِ فَلَا كَيْلَ لَكُمْ عِندِي وَلَا تَقْرَبُونَ. قَالُوا سَنُرَاوِدُ عَنْهُ أَبَاهُ وَإِنَّا لَفَاعِلُونَ.
And Joseph's brethren came and presented themselves before him. And he knew them, but they knew him not. And when he provided them with their provision, he said, "Bring to me a brother of yours from your father. See you not that I fill up the measure? And I am the best of hosts. And if you bring him not to me, then there shall be no measure for you with me, nor shall you draw near." They said, "We will try to win him from his father. That we will surely do."
وَقَالَ لِفِتْيَانِهِ اجْعَلُوا بِضَاعَتَهُمْ فِي رِحَالِهِمْ لَعَلَّهُمْ يَعْرِفُونَهَا إِذَا انقَلَبُوا إِلَى أَهْلِهِمْ لَعَلَّهُمْ يَرْجِعُونَ. فَلَمَّا رَجَعُوا إِلَى أَبِيهِمْ قَالُوا يَا أَبَانَا مُنِعَ مِنَّا الْكَيْلُ فَأَرْسِلْ مَعَنَا أَخَانَا نَكْتَلْ وَإِنَّا لَهُ لَحَافِظُونَ. قَالَ هَلْ آمَنُكُمْ عَلَيْهِ إِلَّا كَمَا أَمِنتُكُمْ عَلَىٰ أَخِيهِ مِن قَبْلُ فَاللَّهُ خَيْرٌ حَافِظًا وَهُوَ أَرْحَمُ الرَّاحِمِينَ.
He said to his young men, "Place their merchandise in their saddlebags, so that they may know it when they go back to their folk, and so will come again." So when they went back to their father, they said, "O our father, the measure is denied us. So send with us our brother, that we may obtain the measure. Surely we will guard him well." He said, "Can I entrust him to you, except as I entrusted his brother to you aforetime? God is better at guarding, and he is the most merciful of those who show mercy."
وَلَمَّا فَتَحُوا مَتَاعَهُمْ وَجَدُوا بِضَاعَتَهُمْ رُدَّتْ إِلَيْهِمْ قَالُوا يَا أَبَانَا مَا نَبْغِي هَٰذِهِ بِضَاعَتُنَا رُدَّتْ إِلَيْنَا ونمير أهلنا ونحفظ.
So I would like to see go into more detail. This is just the little blab on the news. They were talking about that we should really scientifically look at this Swedish model and see what else do we have to we can learn from that. So that was one thing I wanted to bring up. The second thing I want to bring up about this we got to think about, because guy that's Stevie.
Common sense. Common sense.
The second thing which struck me was that all these school controversies coming up, people very confused, teachers very confused, very concerned. What should we be doing? Should they do? Should not do? But you know, as people have their own way, one survey done, 4 out of 5 parents do not want to send their kids to school and want to have some alternative way of teaching, you see. And again, the money always has an opportunity.
Excuse me, I want to interrupt you again and talk about your model here. I've been to Sweden many times. How many times have you been there?
Never.
Oh, okay. So that makes me the bigger authority on that, right? Seriously.
I accept your authority.
Okay. Well, no, seriously. I do know that they are very high in education. They're very high in social services, especially in medical. They have a whole different system. It's a very social system over there that they have. And they have an open door for the immigrants to come in. This is a whole it's upside down to America. And when they say they'll turn it over to the people to make their choices, they realize, the politicians that are elected there realize that a lot of the people are smarter than they are. So that's why they let them make the choices. Okay, back to you.
That's you know, I don't know, it is in Sweden, some other European country, they have some of the most fantastic social service. And that social service is, one guy was talking about that he got sick, you know, and a lady showed up at his apartment. Said, I'll take care of you. What you need, all shopping, all grocery, this and that, and everything, and taking care of all the other stuff, you see. And what they have over there is called social, or whatever the name is, I would call it social credit hours. So you can do community service and you'd earn those hours. And then when you're in need or when you get older, then those hours that you have earned, those can be utilized for people coming in. Let's say, for example, you have earned 1,000 hours all your life, you see. So now when you get sick, you got fractured, you get this and that, now the community owes you 1,000 hours of service. So whosoever comes and gives service, that much is taken from your credit and put in that person's credit. So instead of having social system like we have in here, hand them the money and let them do what they want to do, there's social security and stuff like that. And over there, they have this kind of human interaction, which we lack in the United States. And when I read about that, it appears so much like what Islam would have tried to teach, taking care of your neighbors. It just does it from the moral standpoint point of view. But here we have taken that model. They have taken that model and put it in action with credit, because one of the greatest management principle is, or human being is, psychology, that what is in there for me. If there's something in there for me, then people are willing to do. Just out of good heart and not expecting anything, there are very, very few. Let's be honest with human psychology. So they have used this human psychology in a positive way that I don't see anywhere in the world that kind of social model that exists.
All right. Well, that's a very good observation, and I respect that, and I respect you as our teacher on these subjects. I would like to caution us, though, to consider that there is a trade-off. Anytime that you have a government that is providing for you, then it's going to always be something that's the people that work within the government are absolutely going to demand that people follow at least some basic guidelines. And if the people don't follow it, then they're going to run into an impasse. So this is why you have to know your people. And the whole time I was over in Sweden and Denmark and in Norway and Finland, those are the 4 countries that I visited over there numerous times. And I observed that they have a similar structure in their politics, similar in their social benefits that they have for the people. And also their open doors to the immigration, especially for the Muslim and the Muslim countries. Now this is quite the opposite of what we see over here in America. I don't recall any time that I was in any of these 4 countries that somebody standing up in the back of their pickup saying, "Go back where you came from." So until we see that kind of difference here, I don't think that'll actually work. I don't know. What do you think, Doctor?
Well, you're right. Look at basically United States. Everyone is an immigrant. Okay, it's just a matter of
and that's another problem. Who is willing to admit that their grandparents or great grandparents immigrated here? I'm one of the very few that's been here since the 1600s. Our family's been here since the 1600s on my father's side, and about 150 years, 170 years on my mother's side. But how many people could actually say that? And you know that and admit that we entered into this country and there were people already here, and these people are the ones that originally were the hosts and helping the people survive. They couldn't even survive over here when they got here, and now you're talking about these same people who are controlling if not more the folks who were the original hosts here. And this is not the style that we find in these other countries. So I don't think you're comparing an apple to an apple. I think you're comparing an apple to a giraffe.
But the reality is the reality. You see, because as a general rule, I'm talking about all over the world, but I will talk especially from India and Pakistan, because those are the people I relate with. Most of the people who came in here, they were professionals, you see. And all the advancement that has taken place in the United States, it is from the people who have IQs, So no matter where they came from, all the space exploration and warfare and on, it takes brains. And so without brains, you can't. So when you at one point, the United States was caused as brain drain, so that it is raining rain around the world, and that was the golden era. Like in 1970s, when I came, the best people came in here. By putting this restriction, God is creating intelligent people all over the world. You see, They will not come to the United States, they'll go to some other countries. They will go to the countries that are in opposition to the United States. They'll go to the countries and try to benefit them. So we trying to block the intelligentsia coming to the United States, I think it is a short-sightedness. It can earn you votes, but it cannot earn you in the long term the leadership. Now look at I'm not a politician, I'm not but look at China, and you see how much advanced it has become. He's an enemy of America, and if you won't allow intelligence to come in here, they'll go to other places. You see, so this is what we have to think on the national level, and we have to think about overall our bright future. You see.
I hope you're right. I'm looking for a bright future. We just heard our president. I'm sure you had a chance to hear him on a live program today, up in Wisconsin. Yeah, it was in Wisconsin that he had his live program, and he was very clear about how much smarter he is than the Chinese, and how that they had to succumb to him, and that they're the biggest losers, etc., etc. And only because they're willing to follow his lead are they ever going to be successful. This is what we just heard today from our beloved president. So, yeah, I hope that we do have a brighter future. Let's talk now with Dr. Adil. Dr. Adil. Assalamu alaikum. All the way from Tampa, Florida. Your comments about the subject about
Sure.
if you were following that, I think, right?
And, yes, sir. And salam alaikum, Dr. Sultan. I agree with all the, the things that basic, common sense that's important. But also, in addition to that, we have a lack of unified strategy all over the nation. So everybody's pretty much left on their own, and it's very chaotic, and people are confused. They don't know what to do. There is no universal kind of a compliance strategy. People are confused, wear the mask, not wear the mask, but then all the data are solid now. We've been going back and forth with these issues for almost 6 months now, and the data are solid and clear. You wear masks only, you can cut down at least or save about 40,000 lives. If you wear between now, if everybody is adapting these strict policies, in addition to social distancing and the improved, hand sanitary lifestyle and washing hands and so on. So this is all combined together, because I don't think the coronavirus is going away for a while. And people need to know, because like 1918 flu, well, it's been there since then. It hasn't gone away, and every year the virus has to go through a little bit of mutation. So based on this mutation, they manufacture the corresponding vaccine, and then people would take it, and I'm talking about a regular flu. So this is pretty much a viral illness, and people think it's just when you wake one day and then it's going to disappear. That's not going to happen. And people have to realize that. And there's a lot of changes could be permanent in everything we do: economy, jobs, way of living, lifestyle. Everything has to go on those lines. So listen until we adapt those policies, and we've seen the great results right here in the United States, in New York City, the epicenter. Governor Andrew Cuomo did a great job there with flattening the numbers, getting it down to a very handful of cases and no admissions and no fatality. And people are really, really feeling that. So it's just a matter of getting all together on the same wavelength, if you would, the same frequency, that everybody speaks the same language. We all have to wear masks. We all have to be courteous and respectful of each other, and also caring for each other. If somebody doesn't get infected, himself, he will be infecting others. So no matter how healthy, quote unquote, look like, because now we know among adults and even kids, there still are carriers of disease, and they can pass it on. So the virus, as long as people talk and breathe and cough and sneeze and all that, it will be sprayed and showered everywhere. We need to really go back to the main premises of strengthening the immune system, because that's the only guaranteed way that people can face these constant exposure to the vaccine, whether you're tested negative today or positive tomorrow or the other way around. This stuff is not going away. So we have to really change the strategy and be smart about it and have a unified language when we address this. And everybody has to be courteous and respectful of everybody else. That's the only way we can keep this unity in the community, and then keep the country safe and keep the world safe. And everybody looks up to America. So we really need to have to demonstrate that leadership in the coronavirus. And this is very, very, achievable goals and a very practical issues that everybody, if you do it, definitely you're going to get instant response, which is flattening and reversal of the curve of coronavirus.
Yeah, that brings up a very interesting point in here. I'll tell you. When you have a national crisis like this, how should you handle? I remember a friend of mine came to the United States. At that time, he didn't have a job, so he was working as a guard at World Health World Health Organization, and there was UNO, working at UNO. So Japanese came in. They were having some sort of meeting. So at night they were arranging all the things. A very interesting story, arranging things. So he let them in, and so he happened to talk to some of them and say, because there's no doubt about it that the Japanese are at the height and they have accomplished so much. So ask him that, what is the key for your success? So the guys answered him that I don't know what the key to our success is, but there's one thing I know for sure. We follow our leader. So I thought for a moment, and I said, why is that so important and crucial to follow the leader? Here it is. If the leader is right and you give them full force, everyone together, you're going to be highly successful. Now, let's say the leader is wrong. You all go after him, and your mistakes will be exaggerated, that you'll immediately find you're going in the wrong direction. So you're going to go and change your direction. You see, so here we have a problem is that there are 50 different interest groups. They're wanting their own interest. Nobody following the leader. Nobody is doing anything. So end result, in bickering and fighting, the end result is zero. All the energy, all the forces, everything, end result, zero. So what do you think about that?
Well, I think that this is a good chance for us to take a break and come back with something. What does Islam say about all of this? Because we've heard now from both of our doctors, and I think that we should bring in the Quran and the Sunnah on this. So guys, while we're in the break, it is a good chance for you to call some friends, maybe send out a text message to your folks out there and let them know that we're live on the air right now. And if you're watching this now on the social media, it's a good idea to go ahead and like and save it and ring the bell if you're on the YouTube. All right, let's watch this, and this is how you can support us, and then how you can watch us. Stay tuned, stay guided. You're watching The Newsroom, Islam Newsroom. The news you want when you want it, from the Islamic perspective.
Now we have some websites, alhamdulillah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Who is Allah?
Maybe we'll even see somebody enter into Islam.
Excuse me, do you believe in God?
Why do we call him Allah?
One more time, everyone. Okay, good.
These are the ones that we're going to be mailing out.
Ilaha. Illa. Allah.
And I bear witness that Muhammad
And that's right, we're right across the river from Palestine, as a matter of fact, here in Aqaba. The new moon, the Hilal, has been sighted for the month of Shawwal.
When the adhan is called, it doesn't matter where you are. You go and you make your salah, alhamdulillah.
Now, I think this is something that inshallah ta'ala we'll all be able to benefit from.
Guide Us TV is free. No ads, no spam, no big business, just free.
Log in now and make your contribution today to support your favorite project at donatetoislam.com.
Here are some ways to get Guide Us TV. Via satellite on Galaxy 19 FTA. At this satellite frequency, transponder rate 5, frequency 11836 MHz, polarity vertical, symbol rate 20770, FEC 3/4, channel ID, Guide US TV. You can also download the app to your smartphone. Available for iPhones from the App Store, for Android on Google Play. And now Guide Us TV is available on Roku.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, and we are back. You're watching Guide Us TV. If you just tuned in, we're talking about a subject that might be something that you want to share with your friends. I hope you do, and I hope that we come up with some good answers for you. So what we'd like for you to do, if you're on the social media, leave some comments. We can answer those now or in the future. When any of you want to leave comments, that's a good idea. What we're talking about is the countries like Sweden who have been successful to a degree in they're not really shutting down completely. They're just leaving it up to the proprietors of the particular establishments, the stores and organizations to decide for themselves if they would like to have maybe some days off, if they would like to restructure the way they provide their services, and also about the covering of the mask and all of the rest of it. And to what we've heard from Dr. Sultan, it had a very good points on that. And what I'd like to do right now is to bring in Dr. Adil, who maybe he'll enlighten us more what Islam is saying about all of this. Assalamu alaikum, Doctor.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you so much. I think most of the people now are aware of what needs to be done, and it's very important to have a rally. That everybody have a universal or a common message. If it's a wearing mask, nobody should have a confusing message on that, and then have people, even with the various officials at various levels, someone saying wear it, somebody saying not, somebody put it on, and then if this happening already with adults, what do you think about it happening with kids and teenagers? And we've seen a part of this revolt is having something really dangerous like all these COVID parties and all that. So you guys can't get your act straight. So we'll go ahead and do your thing and our thing and subhanAllah, in Islam is very clear. وَأَطِيعُوا اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ وَأُولِي الْأَمْرِ مِنكُمْ. You should obey Allah. That's in that order, whatever Allah had prescribed for us in His orders, and the guidelines that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the best of humanity, has put in front of us to follow, because He's the best example for all mankind. وَأُولِي الْأَمْرِ مِنكُمْ. And if you have people in charge of you, that you should have their, you rally and you being unified in what's best for the community, and that should be rallied and echoed throughout. It's just have been really sad to see people being distracted from the main message, which is really to prevent the spread, and you do the mitigation and all that. And if these were followed exactly the way the simple measures that we've been discussing for the last 6 months over and over, and just actually implemented in real life, that would have saved tens of thousands of lives, without a doubt. And this has been verified with many statistical models and very predictive models, and very physically public health officials that confirm these facts. So it is no point of guessing. There's no point of thinking, what if I should do this? What if I do that? Whether the results will be. Everything is already known. Everything's already been, well documented. So now, moving forward, I don't want to go back and say, but what went wrong. But we could learn from our mistakes, and then we could move forward, because we're heading next month. We're getting into the fall season, and then everybody's warning CDC and others about the coming double whammy, where you have a coronavirus overlap with the regular flu, season, and it could be escalating infection and mortality and this and that. I don't think that this, I think this is the time now to have people come together, be unified, and on a one clear message for everybody to get ready for the season, get the immune system strengthened, to take all the precautionary measures, to be respectful of each other, to be caring about each other, because I believe that everything God has sent on a spiritual level, God sends for us. It's the tests and trials and tribulations, and for the true believers, this will be a great opportunity that God gives to kind of wipe out the sins and elevate the ranks and get closer to the Creator, but also by helping another fellow human being, by giving the truth about what's good and what works and so on. And now with the social media and everything else, everything is instant. There is no ifs and buts about it.
Yeah.
Now that we know what the proper education is and we are kind to each other, now let's implement it in real life and then try to help each other out.
Okay. I'm going to sum up what I understood from you, and I hope I didn't misunderstand. But basically, you're saying, as a true believer, we say and we believe in Qala Allah wa Qala Rasul. Is that right?
Correct.
All right. So what does it say in the Quran on this topic of people when they're called to do something and they don't do it, or when they do it? So let's look to the Quran in Surah Al-Tawbah. Right now we have that's chapter 9, verse 43, if you use the numbers like I do. Alhamdulillah. Let's have a look and see what we can figure out here. Okay, 43. Yeah, here we go.
عفى الله عنك لما أذنت لهم حتى يتبين لك الذين صدقوا وتعلم الكاذبين.
May Allah pardon you, O Muhammad. Why did you give them permission to remain behind? You should not have, until it was evident to you who were truthful, and you knew who were the liars.
لا يستأذنك الذين يؤمنون بالله واليوم الآخر أن يجاهدوا بأموالهم وأنفسهم والله عليم بالمتقين.
Those who believe in Allah and the Last Day would not ask permission of you to be excused from striving with their wealth and their lives, and Allah is knowing of those who fear Him.
إنما يستأذنك الذين لا يؤمنون بالله واليوم الآخر وارتابت قلوبهم فهم في ريبهم يترددون.
Only those would ask permission of you who do not believe in Allah and the Last Day, and whose hearts have doubted, and they, in their doubt, are hesitating.
ولو أرادوا الخروج لأعدوا له عدة ولو أرادوا أرادوا الخروج لأعدوا له عدة ولكن كره الله بعاثهم فثبطهم وقيل اقعدوا مع القاعدين.
And if they had intended to go forth, they would have prepared for it some preparation. But Allah disliked their being sent, so He kept them back, and they were told, remain behind with those who remain.
لو خرجوا فيكم ما زادوكم إلا خبالا ولأوضعوا خلالكم يبغونكم الفتنة وفيكم سماعون لهم والله عليم بالظالمين.
Had they gone forth with you, they would not have increased you except in confusion. And they would have been active among you, seeking to cause you fitna. And among you are avid listeners to them, and Allah is knowing of the wrongdoers.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. So what we've found out here from the Quran, this is specifically talking though about going out for jihad and at that time. But there are many kinds of jihad, striving and struggling for the sake of Allah. And one of the things, well, the key thing is in Islam, I think, and you correct me if I'm wrong, please, but I think that our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us what means in English that we follow our Imam and we make shura and we stick together. And even if our leader has decided something that we don't necessarily agree with, we go with that because we've made shura and we're agreeing that we should follow our Imam. And this is a big difference between what we find here in our country, because people take the freedom of speech in place of freedom of thought. Because, and this is me thinking out loud, but when I see people who are saying, well, I have this freedom, I have this freedom, but whenever your decisions or your choices will impact the other people, that's no longer really a fair deal anymore. Because if I do something that hurts other people, this is not the intention behind having freedom of gathering, freedom of speech, and freedom of bearing arms. But it doesn't mean that you just go out and shoot up the neighborhood and shoot off your mouth and do whatever you want to do, because that is maybe a mild form of insanity. And inshallah, I'll let you comment about that, Doctor, if you don't mind. I'd like to hear your opinion.
Sure. You know, people would say, well, I have the freedom to smoke. Well, you know, if we could do this, and a lot of people used to smoke in hospitals, till the hospitals made it mandatory that it's not allowed to have anybody, you know, smoke inside the hospital, because that hurts the patients, the visitors, and the patient themselves. And it is, you know, on the airplanes, for instance, you know, a lot of people, the minute it takes off and then sit like 5 minutes later, everybody starts to lit up a cigarette. That's in the old days, in the early 90s, when it was allowed in certain segments, you know, on part of the airplane. But
I had to deal with that. I know what you're talking about.
You know,
I hated in the 1970s when I'd fly overseas. Oh my God.
You know, and I remember my late mom in 1994 going first time for Hajj, and the guy next to her was smoking, and she has a little bit of asthma, and then, please stop it. And the guy wasn't stopping. And then we had to make a lot of deals to change the seating and so on, because that was a 13-hour flight. And if you're there all the time, you're out of luck. And you know, but now it's banned because it's a fire hazard. People cannot, if you get caught, or anybody in the lavatory smoking in the lavatory, that's a violation, and you know, people will go to jail for that. So the personal freedom will stop when it encroaches on others, when it hurt others, on the polluting the airspace of someone who is sitting next to you, or your neighbor, your loved one, and so on. And then you could have the same analogy applied to everything that you just mentioned. How, I mean, my freedom, yes, but I don't want to hurt somebody. thinking that quote unquote my freedom, everything has a limit, and similarly, the other person, out of courtesy and respect, will also honor my my freedom, so he doesn't encroach on mine, and that prevents the conflicts and prevents the spread of disease and so many bad things from happening.
All right, we got a phone call. Let's take that call right now and find out what's going on. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Hello. You reached us. Oh, I forgot to tell everybody. Whenever you call us, guys, please listen to your phone. Don't listen to the TV, because if you sit and hold your phone like this and watch the TV, you won't even know that we answered the phone. Because it's 60 seconds, not minutes. All right, so if you just called me, call us back again right now. And if we're still on the air, we'll take your call. All right? Jazakallah khair. Go ahead, doctor.
Okay, I think we kind of, giving enough of that. And if you don't mind, I just want to carry on with we stopped yesterday with late Dr. Qadri. And I know you Googled Qadri Boulevard, and you've seen his life. I think he's also have a little video. I don't know if you got it. You can.
He's the only one that I know of that spells his name with a K instead of a Q, and that's why I didn't find it right away.
That's right. So this was a combination of the Ramadan Thanksgiving Food Basket Program, and if you Google that, you'll see a lot of videos. Just put Ramadan Thanksgiving Food Basket Program. That was started in 2001, and it grew. So it basically all over the United States, where people mostly started just by the Muslim community giving food to the needy and Thanksgiving holiday, and that everybody else joined, and it kind of grew so much. That is going across the nation, and subhanAllah, it brought a lot of people together, brought a lot of happiness and solidarity with just sharing the food, sharing what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has ordered to do, to give the food, to feed the hungry. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was one of the best and the most important things about the things that will get you to paradise. At'im at-ta'am, you give the food to those who need, those you know and those who don't know. I don't care who it is, to humans and to animals, to have any life, anything that has life that would need food to sustain itself. So this has definitely brought a lot of new dimension to that, and there was an annual resolution to the community, the Muslim community, regarding their effort to bring peace and harmony and help the needy. And it was a very beautiful thing. It was televised every year around the holiday season locally, to let people know, at least about the effort of trying to bring humanity together and people together. And those were two events that coincided with each other, Ramadan and Thanksgiving back in 2001, in November 2001, and it really have been taken off since then, and to kind of bring the joy and the happiness to everyone in the community by bringing the food. And of course, we know from Ramadan, when we don't eat, we know what hunger feels like. So this has been a very well received and spread all over the nation, from not just the social groups, but from so many organizations that basically replicated the same work. I don't care who you are, like ISNA, ECNA, and a lot of and CARE and so on have championed these efforts to reach out and to basically fight hunger, giving the spirit of Ramadan, the spirit of giving, and then have really put Muslims on the map on a national holiday like Thanksgiving with the spirit of giving and sharing. So that was a very good thing that really echoed with everyone, around, all fellow Americans, friends, families, neighbors, everybody kind of related to that and brought people together to focus on what to do to help each other out rather than being distracted with the old nonsense.
What is Dr. Qadri's full name you're talking about?
Qadri, Kadri, Muhammad.
K-A-D-R-I. Qadri, okay.
Yeah, Qadri Boulevard. This you see, we went through it yesterday, and if you see your email, Chef, I think I sent you that video also. So you people could, if you want to play it, that's a beautiful reminder of him and the love that the community have showed and dedicated the Boulevard to his name to kind of bring his memory and legacy for generations to come.
MashaAllah, alhamdulillah. And I think we should make some dua for him and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make everything easy for him in the grave and benefit him, even though he is, waiting for the day of judgment, which we'll all be in that state very soon. And ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to fill his cover his grave with nur, with light, and the smell of Jannah. Ameen. Ameen. And ask Allah that He will put all of us in the best place in Jannah. Ameen. So, okay, Dr. Sultan, we were talking about this topic again. What is your take on what we're talking about as far as following the Quran, the Sunnah, and when it comes to social evidence is indicating that a lot of the things that we see from the American folks are not really lending itself toward that kind of thought. Let's say it that way. I'm trying to be really nice about this,
Yeah. See, when we talk about the beauty of Islam, what we're talking about, we have freedom of speech and freedom, that. You see, your neighbor has a lot of rights on you. I'm not talking about neighbor you live. If you're traveling, a person next to you is your neighbor. If you're at a business, somebody you're interacting is your neighbor. If you're in a classroom, your student next to you is your neighbor. So you have to take care in a way that you do not hurt that person at all. For example, in a classroom, like if you take paper and make noise and stuff like that, you're interrupting that person. Islam prohibits that. If you're traveling with a neighbor, traveling with a person, your traveler, you got to take care of him in the best possible way you can. So coming down to, because I got the freedom of choice and I can call you names and call you by the color and call you this or call you that. No, that is absolutely prohibited. And this is what we need to bring, that the freedom of speech, it should not be equated to saying whatever I want to do. You got to take care of the sentiments of the next person to you. If you have to say something, for heaven's sake, say something good instead of saying something bad which make the person mad.
That makes a lot of sense.
Hurt. He may not be in a position to say something to you, but in his own heart, he's not feeling good. So you are not, you're violating what Islam teaches you.
That makes a lot of sense. Dr. Adil, if you will, just give us a few words on this. We're almost running out of time, so I wanted to give you a chance to come in there on that too as well.
Thank you so much. The whole message is, yes, there is definite respect, for the concept of freedom, but it's not absolute, and it has not, it has to have regulations. It has to be accompanied with courtesy and also concern and respect for others, freedom as well. Otherwise, it'll be chaos. We mentioned the example of smoking, but that can go on to everything else that goes around. And unless and until we have a regulation or, everybody knows the responsibility of that freedom, that you do not encroach on anybody else's freedom, and still have the mutual respect. Oh, would you like to have a contaminated air because of all the smoke and all the pollution that comes along with it, or you want to have at least a clean air in your space? So if somebody wants to smoke, go and smoke in your designated smoking area, but do not contaminate the air for other folks to breathe, especially if somebody has asthma or respiratory illness. And now about the freedom of wearing mask, not wearing mask, and all that. That's, I think, a distraction. There is no ifs and buts. The science and the evidence suggests that protective shields, bandana mask, cloth, whatever, a surgical mask, those simple barriers can enhance the limited spread of virus, and which translate to saving lives. And we're talking about 40,000 lives in the most recent report that I read. Just as some people do that, from now on, look around you, look around the people that you love, the loved ones and your neighbors and everybody else. And in Islam, saving one life like saving the entire humanity. And if we can achieve that by simple measure, just like putting a small, piece that cover the mouth and the nose, and make sure that you have respect and courtesy for others, that goes a long way. That shows the love and concern, and that could really be helpful for the anxiety when people are now get very anxious and get freaking out when somebody gets close less than 6 feet away from each other. I don't know if you experience it in the store or post office or anywhere you go, where people just start yelling and screaming and all that. But if we show the respect and the courtesy for others, and that will calm people down. Hey, they care about me, I should care about them. And that should be the new culture that surely maybe coronavirus is really giving us a whole new opportunity for us to be more caring and more respectful with each other.
I think that you summed it up very well. Both of you are, that's why we love to have you on the Guidance TV, because you bring out the points that really affect all of us from all sides. And I'm happy that you are using your ability to explain. That's, doctors are always famous for being able to explain things to people, and you guys are doing a good job of that. The practical application of Islam when it comes to these kinds of things is, I think, something that very, very well appreciated at this stage of the game.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Alhamdulillah.
Do you know, maybe Sheikh, I don't know if you would like to do this. Now I just heard the adhan from Mecca for Fajr. And it would be nice to get this. I know there's a lot of apps right now, like the water or the rain and so on, to soothe people. But you have about 12 or a dozen of them then that we could just let people hear. That's a very soothing effect on the hearts. And
well, we don't have to go very far for the adhan, because we do have Tube Islam, which has, I'm looking at it right now, 212 results. If you go to search for Islam and you type in the word adhan, and let me put it up there so folks can take a look at this.
Like from Rawda in the Medina, and we're next to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where he was buried. That is a spot of paradise. That is the Rawda. That is the ultimate place. And of course, from Mecca and hear all the echoes. I believe people just would listen to it. That's a very soothing effect on people.
It does on me, that's for sure. Let's take a look at this. I typed in the word adhan, and on Sheikh Google, also known as Search for Islam. But when you type it in, you find that there are a large number of the adhan is the prayer call for those who are not familiar with Islam. Yeah. That this is something that let's we'll just take the first one, the one on the top, and see what we get. Let's find out what we got here. MashaAllah.
It's so beautiful.
Yes, it is. It's very
And
beautiful.
we want to share it with all mankind, you know.
Let's see what we got. I'm going to play it right now.
أشهد أن لا أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول حي على الصلاة
لا حول ولا قوة
حي على الصلاة حي على حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
That's better than any anti-anxiety or antidepressant therapy, right there, free.
Yes.
And just for those who don't know the meanings, Allahu Akbar, Allah is the greatest. And this is very, very important concept that we say it at least 179 times a day. We'll talk tomorrow about the calculation, and that has nothing to do with harming anybody or doing any act of terrorism. Allahu Akbar meaning Allah is the greatest. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. I testify that there's no God but Allah, and I testify that Muhammad, the Rasulullah, the messenger of Allah. When you say
And
hayya
we'll
ala
have to
salah,
do that
pray,
tomorrow
do
as
prayer.
well, because we got to roll out of here right now. We
Hurry to
ran over
success.
our time, so tomorrow is a good time for that. And guys, everybody stay tuned, stay guided with Guidance TV. We'll be back
TV.
tomorrow. MashaAllah. Assalamualaikum.
Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
MashaAllah. MashaAllah.
You're watching The Newsroom, Islam Newsroom. The news you want, when you want it, from the Islamic perspective.
Now we have some websites, alhamdulillah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Who is Allah? Maybe we'll even see somebody enter into Islam.
Excuse me, do you believe in God?
Why do we call him Allah?
One more time, everyone. Okay, good.
These are the ones that we're going to be mailing out.
Ilaha. Illa. Allah.
And I bear witness that Muhammad
That's right. We're right across the river from Palestine, as a matter